covering recruiting and the transfer portal for the Razorbacks. This is Inside Arkansas Recruiting with Dudley Dawson.
Welcome into the Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast presented by Goat Lab Brewery. I'm your host, Dudley Dawson. Got a special treat today. Paschal, the winningest coach in the active coach in the state of Arkansas right now, is joining us. Coach, appreciate you coming on. I know you got a big game this weekend, Junction City, 9-2 going into the game. Just talk about getting prepared for that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Glad to be here with you guys today. We went down to Junction last year, so they knocked us out, and we're excited to be able to go back down and try it again. We know the way down there, and we know the routine and all that good stuff, so that's nothing new for us. It's been a good week. Of course, as soon as we finished, we practiced on Thursday mornings early on Thursday and get done fairly early, but as soon as we got done, the rain started here in Cherry Valley, and I think it's probably going to rain for the next day or two, something like that. But it is what it is. You're playing this time of year. You're going to get some weather for sure. It's been a good week, and kids are excited. We're ready to go.
Got a lot of great memories of Cherry Valley. Many decades ago, I played at Newport. I went to high school there, but grew up in a small farming community called Balch, and made it to Cherry Valley a lot of times. You've got a really good veteran football team, 10 starters back on offense, 9 on defense. I think you've won 5 in a row. You're playing your best football right now going into the postseason?
Yeah, I think so. We feel like we've hit a stride. We thought we played well against Desart. We thought we played well against Earl. We felt that Earl was a very good football team coming in that ball game and be able to they had a lot of weapons and be able to put the points on the board and hold them down somewhat. We thought that was a kind of a milestone going into the playoff there, and then be able to win pretty handily last week. And so it's a good test this week for sure.
Got a lot of great players. Obviously, Danny Beale, the defensive tackle, is one. I've seen him listed 6'3", 315, 6'5", 330. Where is he at now?
He'll get mad if I say what I think he weighs. He's about 6'5". I say 350. He said that the Razorbacks weighed him in at 315. I think he had one leg on the scales myself, but he's at least 330 at minimum. He started the season out at 350, and he's been as high as 360. But he can move. I'm gonna tell you what, he can run. He's got good feet, and I know why people like him as a recruit.
Yeah, you talk to people, and I hear what a great football player he is, and that jumps off at you on tape. But the thing I hear even more is he's such a great kid and good to be around. Talk about that aspect of Danny Beale.
He is a great kid. I tell people this story every time that I talk about Danny. Is he comes in the field house, he comes into my office every day, and I'm not going to say he doesn't acknowledge any other coach, but he walks all the way back to my chair. And he basically gives me a hug every day before we go out for practice. He did it this morning. I mean, he wants a handshake, a touch, or something. So we go back to when I was at Wynn, when he was a youngster in the 7th grade and 8th grade. And although I didn't coach him, I was around him at that time. So we know each other a little bit from previous stops. But he's a great kid. He really is.
Talk about how he's handled this uncertainty. Obviously, several coaches, Oklahoma State's where he was committed. Mike Gundy was let go. Sam Pittman let go up here.
Yeah.
I know Ole Miss has been recruiting him, and Lane Kiffin, is for every job in America right now, it seems like. Talk about how he's handled the situation, and you've had some obviously some really good players, how you've helped him in this situation is, fans up here are freaking out. I can imagine, 16, 17-year-old kid wonders what the heck's going on.
Yeah. You got to remember that's the key right there, 17-year-old kid. So put yourself in that position and go back to your time. And, I try to do that myself. And there's money involved these days with these guys. So, I talked to Danny and I said, Danny, I'm here if you need me. I'm not a prior. I don't get in people's stuff. I never have. I've had recruits through the years. The only advice that I give them is try to be a man of your word and don't burn bridges. I was told that many years ago about as a young coach, hey, don't burn any bridges. You're gonna go through things, and you just don't want to do that, because you may have to go back across them. And that's what I told Danny. I said, coaches leave and come and go now, and things change and situations happen, and so treat everybody as kind as you can when you make a decision. He was all in on Oklahoma State. He was excited to go there. And I thought to myself, when I saw that, I thought, well, I wonder if that's a game changer, and it was for him. And you can't blame him for that. I don't. But so he's back on the market. What he's going to do, I couldn't tell you. I guess I would tell you if I knew, but I don't know. I don't know. And he doesn't come in and say, Coach, I think I'm a Razorback today. I think I'm a Rebel today. He doesn't do that. He comes in and practices football and gets ready to go every day. And so he's got a lot on his plate, and the family has to talk and make those decisions. And, that's got to be his deal. And then when he doesn't, got to be prepared to live with it.
I imagine it's a whirlwind for him. I know that he visited North Carolina, where one of the greatest coaches of all time, Bill Belichick, certainly has an interesting scenario and situation going on down there. Visited Ole Miss, and I guess also Oklahoma State. And then, Missouri, Arkansas, unofficial visits, all that. I imagine all those schools are reaching out again. How's he handling that, but focusing on the season?
He handles it. He handles it great. He's the same guy with them that he is with me. He's very kind. He's very polite. I would think after a while that it would become difficult. It would for me. After a while, I'm ready just to focus on what we have to do in order to be successful as a football team. And he's made that comment to me too, although he has to still continue to entertain those folks. And so, I get a lot of calls as well, and everybody wants to know what Danny is going to do. And I tell them exactly what I'm telling you now. I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do, but he'll do it eventually. And, as somebody that's recruiting, you do the best job you can recruiting. You're going to get a good kid. I can tell you that much right now. I'll put my stamp on it.
You've had the opportunity, I've seen some pictures, to have some great football coaches, both head coaches and assistant coaches in your facilities this year. Talk about, just handling that and him being able to get the opportunity to see these guys, up close and personal in his own setting instead of their setting.
Yeah. Well, they're coming to our humble abode. I say it in Cherry Valley, out in the bean field, where the flies and mosquitoes run thick. And but they know that, man. They've seen everything under the sun. That stuff doesn't bother them. They come in there, and most of them act like it's just they're at home. I know Gundy did. I was impressed with every one of them. Let me tell you right now, every single coach, the head coach to assistant coaches. I can honestly say this: there wasn't one that I thought was rude or cocky or arrogant. Not one, and that's a big deal. I'm impressed, and I'm glad to say that in the coaching arena as a coach for 41 years. I'm just impressed with those guys, how they do what they do, and so that was a big deal for me. It's just I can name them all. I'm a Sam Pittman fan. He recruited Danny hard, Deke Adams, and others. I built a relationship a little bit along the way there, and have with Sam before. I'll tell this story is that of all the coaches, if I was to text Sam Pittman, he may not return it today. He's going to return a text back. Nobody else does that. Now, I'm not saying that I hadn't texted one that would, but he's just a tremendous guy. And so I hate to see Sam leave, but I get it. I know how this thing works. About $1 at the end of the day, but they were all great. We saw Lane Kiffin come in. We had Gundy come in. We had the North Carolina guys were I was coming in from Mission field coming through North Carolina when North Carolina actually called me, one of the coaches out there at the time when that first started happening last January. So it's pretty neat. It's a pretty neat deal.
We were sponsored by Goat Lab Brewery. I have a couple of locations in Fayetteville and Lowell. Great craft beer and food. Really appreciate them supporting us. We're having progressive wings this weekend as Arkansas plays at 2:30 against Texas, and also during basketball games, Bill and Rhonda Adams do a great job. Those two places kind of become a focal point for either drowning your sorrows or celebrating. It's been tough up here with 8 straight losses, but they're at 12-14 North Garland there in Fayetteville. I encourage everybody to get out and see them and really enjoy the hospitality and the food that they have there. Coach, I was going before we talk about Danny a little bit more, we'll talk to you about Terry Wells. I was always very impressed with the young man he was, and I know he had to medically retire, but talk about how he did coming up as a player, and the fact that he made the tough decision to move on, and but it's still taking care of his business. I guess.
Yeah. Well, Terry's another fine young man that pleasant to be around. The kind of the common denominator in these guys through my careers, and I tell them this: the guys that do books are normally successful. That get it done in the classroom. That's what I've seen. It coincides together. The guys that don't go, they go to class in high school, of course, but that are not getting down and getting serious about the academics, they tend not to make it when they go to college to play ball. And that's what I've told them. Terry was a 4.0. Danny has good grades. Danny can be a 4.0 if he wants to. He's not, but he could be. And other kids that back through all my years that, they did well. Tyrell Johnson's at South Alabama right now. He to me, he could be playing on the Hill. He's that good in my opinion, but he does the books. He'll have an opportunity to play, I think, pro football. He was at Harding a couple of years and went did the NIL deal to South Al. So can't say enough about Terry. I mean, I put him in that category at the very top. He's just a class act. Never saw him act out of the ordinary bad. Never a bad word. Just a tremendous person, and he will be very successful in the game of life.
Talking about Danny a little bit, obviously the landscape of college football is a little bit different these days. It's still a relationship, but also transactional. Talk about how you've seen it change and just how do you view what we got going on in college athletics these days?
Well, when I was watching the old Southwest Conference football when I was a kid growing up, and it was Texas and Arkansas for the most part, and battling out, running the old true wishbone back in the day. And you had the Earl Campbells. And, of course, I'm from Brinkley, Arkansas, so I got to mention Jerry Eckwood.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry was about, I don't know if he's got the due accolades that I think he deserves, but he was a tremendous high school football player with some injuries as he went through college and then made it to the pros and played there. But, I'm not a fan of the money. Now, I had one coach tell me that I don't know anything about it. But he told me it's like a 1-year deal. They got to re-up, maybe like the Army. I don't know. If they can't get it done, then maybe they don't get it. I'm sure some of them have different clauses. I get that they're that good out there. But I'm not a fan of paying those guys. I'm not. I know some are going to disagree, but I know universities, the guys that do well make the money. I get it, but I think when you start giving money to 17-year-old kids, I think you're asking for some issues. I mean, I just do, but that's my 2 cents. But anyway, I always say this from a high school standpoint: kids don't change. It's the parents that have differences, changing, society's changing, the thought process out there that we go through. You can see it in the political arena and the environments, all the stuff that goes on today that we have now. But kids are kids, and they will do what you let them do, and they will get in line. And I say if you do it with love but sternness, as you go back to the Bible, there's a reverence, fear of God. It don't mean you're scared to death of him, but he can bring the hammer if he needs to. So I think you have to have that in a leader, that they know that hey, that guy loves me. Man, he'll get after me if I don't do it right. And I think that's a big key there. So kids they're dying for that. They're dying for discipline. They're dying for somebody to be in charge and direct them in the right way. And I think it's the same today. I think your Nick Sabans, they can do that. They can pull that off. And there's a long list of them out there, but he jumps out at the top, of course, right now.
The 6'5", 330, I think is what we're going to go with. You mentioned that you first saw him in the 7th grade. I assume he's a pretty big 7th grader, but when you got to see him, in your new role here, did you know how good he could be? Was he still developing, and how has he developed over these last 2 years?
Yeah. So when I came to Cross County, win 6 years, did a stint at Heber, and then long story short, House in Selma, we came back to Cross County, and I'm very blessed to be here. And so I got to see Danny, and I got lots of calls, right off the bat from people, and they were wading through at that time. I mean, every single day to recruit. And I told him, I said, I don't know yet. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't know. I can't tell you till I evaluate and give me some time, and I'll tell you. But man, he's got the body, he's got the size, but I can tell you more later. So after time spent with him, and then going through our off season this past year, and I told Danny, I said, look, and you're going to run. You're not the only. We're all going to run, but you've got to be able to run. You got the size, strength, and everything else, but you got to be able to move. And so we made a commitment to that as a team, and it helped. I think it helped Danny tremendously. And he can move. He's got great feet, and that's what people look for. He's got great hands. He can catch the ball. When we're going through our kicking team stuff, he'll go out and catch punts. He can catch a punt as good as anybody we got on the football team. He's just a tremendous athlete. So, yes, I couldn't put a stamp on him day one, but I can now. The thing for Danny's going to be is he's got to develop the mental toughness. And I say this every day to our kids. When you walk in the field house, you flip a switch, you block out everything you did from whatever time you got up until the time you walked into that door, and you focus on the game of football and you give it everything you got. When he does that, when he's able to do that full-heartedly, he'll be tremendous.
Yeah, Danny was going to join us today, and we'll hope to have him on a little later, maybe after a little less uncertainty. Arkansas has 2 games. Obviously, Oklahoma State has 2 games. Missouri and Ole Miss have a few more than 2, probably, at least 3. And we'll see, how that landscape shakes itself out. As you go into this weekend and look at your opponent again, obviously you've not only got Danny on the defensive line, but you've got, several other young men that are outstanding players. So what's going to be the biggest challenge in terms of, what you're going up against this weekend?
Well, one junction brings to the table tradition. David Carpenter did a tremendous job when he went down there twice, if you remember right. And but he did a tremendous job and to get that program, I think, to where it's at now. And he's trying to get some of his former players to get it back to where he had it, and they're working on it. They got some good looking kids in suits. I don't know if we won't see a better group that looks in a suit. EPC looks pretty good too, and we got something to do too as well. But top to bottom, they look pretty good. They're very athletic. They got good size. They can run. They can do it all. We've got to be in the right place. We got to make plays. We got to be able to play the edges. You always got to have leverage. That's what we talk about every day. If we get leverage, then we can, and we hill line the defensive line and make them do what, and keep an edge and don't give them a running lane. That's the whole deal. Can't give a run. If they get a running lane there, they'll take it to the house. I mean, that's just it. So if we do that on the defensive side, and when they do throw it deep, and they will, make sure that we don't let that one happen. We're able to stop them, slow them down. They're going to score some points. They can't score what they're getting now, we lose. But and then when we get the ball, we just got to be this week. You can't look for the 50, 60-yard pop. We may get that, but you got to be satisfied with 2, 3, 4, and move the chains. And that's what we talked about. And then win the kicking game.
Just one last thing on Danny. Obviously the December 3rd through 5th early signing date is coming up. There's also one in February. Do you know any plans on, or is it just kind of day by day for him on whether he's going to sign early? And is he an early graduate? What about those aspects?
Well, I knew that beforehand he was planning on being an early graduate with the Oklahoma State deal, or whoever in the very beginning. That was his plan. I'll say it again, and when I tell you this, I'm not dodging anything. I do not know. I don't know that he's an early grad now. I do not know that that he's signing with anybody. I mean, and I can tell you, he comes in the office every day and talks to our other coaches who are, half my age. So, that's where his conversations are at in that arena. They may know. I don't think they really do know for sure, but they may have an inkling. I'm not sure that Danny knows, to be honest with you. I think he's got it narrowed down to probably a group. I can say that I really think that he's been to Arkansas again as a visit. I know that. And I know that they've been recruiting him hard from that angle. I haven't talked to anybody since the Pittman era, but I know that they've been after Danny. But I have no idea that he would sign early. I haven't heard anybody talk about it. I do know this much: we have a date set for December 5th in Little Rock, so I do know that's an important date for him as well.
Right. Hey, Coach. Good luck the rest of the season. Obviously been a great one for you so far, and appreciate you joining us. And we'll be watching both your team and Danny to see what goes on here.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Coach.
Huh.
Great visit there with Coach Van Paschal, Lacrosse County at the 9-2 facing Junction City this weekend, and also the head coach of Danny Beale, the number one player, highly regarded in Arkansas, someone who is still involved with Arkansas. Got to hear a few tidbits there, certainly at the end of kind of where the process is at with him right now. Outstanding player, and as I said, everybody you talk to says an outstanding young man. We'll just go along with him, see who the head coach is here, who the head coach is at Oklahoma State. As we mentioned, the Ole Miss, Missouri, have head coaches who have been very successful, and they're being mentioned for other jobs. That's just what happens when you're very successful. Also, Mississippi State, North Carolina are schools that he was taking a look at. He has close to 30 offers, and certainly is one of the top uncommitted guys out there right now. He's a 4-star guy, number 5 defensive tackle in the nation, according to ESPN, number 181 overall recruit according to ESPN. So he's legit, and would be he's not really a flip anymore, but would be an opportunity to be a big time acquisition, as his coach said. Don't really know about whether he's going to be an early grad, whether he's going to sign early. Those were the things he was planning on doing before all this change and uncertainty came along. But we'll look forward to talking to him soon. As I said, he had to get to the doctor today, this morning, and they have an early practice on Thursday as we're recording this, as they get ready to play tomorrow. But want to thank Coach again. I appreciate everybody who's watching and listening to the Inside Arkansas Recruiting podcast, as we said, presented by Go Lab Brewery. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas on YouTube. Obviously great stuff talking about football, basketball, baseball, recruiting, everything going on. And you can, get all that great content here, and with the immediacy of things these days. And we know things are going to start getting busy here with coaching names and finding out some things. What's going to go home from the football program. But I'm Dudley Dawson, and I'll see you next time. But I always say, remember, yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. Let's go out and do something to make the world a better place.